So, thank you, Ian, for starting the safety discussion. So, you covered everything that I don't cover. So, yeah, and sorry for the second safety talk in a row. So, what I'm talking about today is, what is a safety element out of context? So, the safety element out of context certification is actually what SEN or Zephyr are going for. What can you expect if a project is going down this road? Short intro, what are we doing roughly in Zephyr for this? And my main topic here is really to start a discussion between our projects on this. So who am I? I'm Nicole. I have a long automotive and safety background, did a little bit in defense. In the end, all my projects had to do something with functional safety, and I started to work as a safety assessor about 14, 15 years ago. A few years ago, we started our own journey with safety consulting with AlektoMetis. And that's what I'm doing today, mainly supporting customers and sometimes also running assessments for functional safety. I'm involved in several open source projects, Zephyr, ELISA, the SPDX the safety interest group in SPDX. I handle the open chain third-party certification for SEooC. So you will find me if you Google me, and you'll find me on most social media platforms with the handle Nicole Pappler. So that's us. AlektoMetis is doing a lot of consulting, assessment, and trainings and all that. So, why am I here? So, I really want to talk about this for let's say, open source audience for quite some time, because there are a lot of expectations about what a safety certification is or can do, and actually there are so many things it's not. So a safety element is always developed, or not developed for a specific item or a specific application or for a specific target platform. It is developed within its own little bubble. And so the goal usually is, as with every software library, to be reused in different contexts, more often, with different variants and all that. So it's not a one-off development. And it usually then comes with some generic safety statements regarding its scope, regarding, hey, we support safety, some systematic capabilities regarding the criticality, say level, SIL, ASIL, all that stuff. It hopefully comes with updates, not only security patches, but also updates regarding functionality, updates regarding evolvements of your platforms, and it comes with the verification and validation evidences that you need to qualify it within your application. So, big question, what do you need to identify a suitable safety element out of context? Anybody? If you want a safety element, what would you look into? Yeah, I know, I'm between you and your lunch. So the things that usually come up is, do you need a certificate? I need a SIL and ASIL rating. And the most important thing, the sales and marketing slides. That's usually when I have a customer and they say, hey, and we need a OS, or we need a software library for this and that. And my purchasing department identified this one, and here are the marketing slides. Isn't it great? And it has a certificate from certification agency, whatever. And it has to say it has the right ASIL rating. No, it's all fine. So it has a certificate. What does the certificate prove? Somebody with sufficient knowledge, hopefully, had looked into it, and there was an independent third-party assessment, which is really a brilliant thing to have, but it's not everything. But because it does not say, hey, this really fits your expectations from a functional side or for performance side. And it does not help you with your level of qualification that you need to do for your side and from your system level, because safety in the end is always a system property, so you need to understand your system, you need to understand what you need, and qualify in between. So it won't help you minimizing your own effort for the stuff that you need to qualify. Yeah, the still ASIL rating statement, yeah, it's great to have it. But it's also, again, not everything. Do you know what is the scope for what kind of functionality of this product? Is this rating valid? Is it for everything? Does it match my expectation? Again, functionality. What obligations or assumptions of use come with it? Can I fulfill it? So there's a lot of stuff on top of the SIL and ASIL statement. And yeah, the sales marketing slides, they're good to get a first impression. So it helps to get a notion of the product. So yeah, don't say you don't need it. But usually there are no technical details. People address a different level of audience with these slides. So once you have these slides and you think, hey, that's a great product, ask for deeper questions about, yeah, the assumptions of use, your obligations. Is there a safety manual? What is really the statement behind the certificate? So really try to get more information before making a decision for that. So really, the most important thing before you really go into the qualification of something is the scope. Does the scope really match what I expect? Does the functionality match what I expect? Can I meet the obligations or the assumptions of use? Updates, maintenance, do I get this information? How can I access this information? Is this in line with what I need? And yeah, then the last thing is really to look into how is the safety qualification of this product. Is there one? Has it been certified by an authority, or is there a different kind of qualification statement? How does this evolve over the time when the product evolves? So there is a lot of stuff to consider above, hey, is there a certificate? What's the ASIL? And what did I hear about it? So yeah, okay, we covered this. So, and one of the most important things, as I already said, safety is a system property. So you, from the system perspective, need to know in the end, what do you expect before choosing something. So in the end, a safety element out of context is actually a safety element with an assumed context. So it's generic within its assumed context. You always need to evaluate if you can use it. It's definitely not safety plug and play. So it will always come with things for you to do, and it will not save you from doing your safety qualification. And it must come really with suitable documentation so you can make qualified decisions. A safety manual with the obligations of use, or integration manual, a patch and update strategy, a strategy where you can access all the verification material that you need. And yeah, thank you, Kate, for this good slide. So really, you or your customers as a system provider, they have safe usage considerations, they have needs, user needs, and there are different safety components that might fulfill them. These little R's are for requirements. So yeah, the requirements are important because that's the thing where you can match your needs with the requirements and see if it fulfills what you need. So this is really then step 2. Look into the requirements of the element and see if it is suitable for you. And then really verify, analyze, and integrate. Does this really integrate as I expect? Does this perform as I expect? And how can I test this in the context of my complete system? And I think that's for what our perspective here is, how can I create a safety element out of context? So yeah, first of all, define your scope. Define what are the standards you want to comply with. And then a big topic is the systematic capability. So systematic capability means really how much effort have I put into something that it really does the thing I want to do it. So starting from writing requirements, what do I expect, mapping these requirements to architectural elements, coming up with a suitable architecture, verifying that this, or analyzing that this really is a stable and reliable structure of my product, making sure it's implemented as I need it. So, and with stuff like coding guidelines, so that I avoid downfalls of my programming language with suitable reviews, or a structure how stuff really gets into the product in the end. How do I test it? How do I integrate my little piece? And how do I provide information to whoever wants to integrate me? And that's more or less it. So what we're doing in Zephyr for this, we are the scope. So I have not put anything about the scope because we're still sometimes discussing, is this really our scope? So scope is an important thing. It boils down for Zephyr to the realistic set, that it's the kernel components and everything that's really needed to have the kernel running. So really to have the most basic, most smallest RTOS that still is usable for the first safety certification, because SEN is a rather small piece of code in the end, and you already have 400 requirements. So really, when you start with this, be realistic how much you can cover in the beginning and grow from there. So you can always grow your scope, or you can limit your scope. The safety standards that we'd like to go are very similar to SEN, so we're going definitely down the route 3S in IEC 61508 with SIL 3. And we're looking into ISO 26262 with some partners, so that's more on the horizon. And so we're in the same situation at the moment as SEN. We are creating the documents for the systematic capability, requirements, architecture, traceability, test coverage, implementing coding guidelines, all that. So the main work is requirements. So we are not using open fast trace, we are using StrictDoc, which works pretty similar. We have a text-based format. It lives in StrictDoc. We discussed all the things that you discussed in the beginning. Which IDs do I want to assign to my requirements? What's the structure? And now are starting to capture all the requirements in StrictDoc. We've also spent quite some time into discussing what really is the right way to phrase requirements, how strict do we need to be. So that's mainly the big bunch of work that we're currently working on. And we're aware we need a safety manual. We're aware we need to really write down all the assumptions and all the discussions that we have about what the user needs to do. And what we're also discussing from a different point, so I told you in the beginning, I'm also with SPDX for the safety profile, is how can we exchange information between projects? Because at the moment, for a safety manual, you get a Word or a PDF document. Sometimes you get an HTML, so you have a lot of stuff to read. For a safety case, so the evidence that everything has been done with respect to safety, you get an Excel list. And that's also formatted in some kind of way. And if you want to exchange requirements to see if they match or to do your analysis, you then have requirements in different formats in different tool environments. So having something in a text-based format like we now have in the open source projects, that's not the case in the proprietary world out there. They all have doors and Polarian and integrity, and it's always a pain to exchange stuff in between there. So really talking about, hey, what's our format to exchange information, that's an important thing that I'd really like to cover between our communities. And also with the safety manual, it would be great on the long term to have something where the user or the integrator can identify, hey, this is the same structure as I already know, so it's easy for me to work through it, to integrate it, because yeah, I already use Zephyr. Oh, Sen looks the same, that's perfect. Or I work with Sen, oh, Zephyr looks the same. And to have also the structure for a safety manual really going into a standard way to do things. For the SPDX stuff, that's what we are currently working on as an overview, really, to have this ominous V model, just move it from a sequence model to a knowledge model to say, hey, this is the structure of the information that I need, and really connect these pieces with SPDX relationships. And you can use this then to create a safety SBOM, the common SBOM format with the SPDX, and that would really be a very, let's say, machine read. It's not an XList in the end, and it's machine readable. It has the same structure, so it would be great to work on this together. And yeah, my call to action. So there are a lot of open source projects around that either want to go down the road of safety qualification, or that need to consume safety components, or hopefully open source safety components. There are communities that are interested or supporting this. And the good thing in the open source is, you know, it's not everybody working in a very isolated way and you're not allowed to talk about it. It's really something, hey, we can exchange information, we can work together, we can learn together and really grow faster and learn faster than as if we are in isolated projects. So yeah, so let's discuss it. So I know some people are interested in this, some people are interested in lunch. So, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well, I'm a little bit far from safety, so maybe a little negative question about this. As far as I understand, the most techniques you use is about documentation and testing. So do you have some experience from modelize and model checking point of view, or maybe a formal proof? Do you have some use of this?
So yeah, the question was, as this is a lot of documentation and testing effort, if we already have experience with models and formal verification, right? So we have in Zephyr we have members that are experienced in this. But before you can have a formal verification of something, you need a formal specification about it. And that's something where we currently do not have the community support for this, honestly. So the community support is in writing requirements, old style. So, and then going down the manual verification level, really go into the repo, look into the tests, do the tests really conform with the requirements that we have come up with. And then if we need more coverage, creating more requirements. Creating more tests. And it would be great on the long term to move stuff into a more formal way, to automate things. But we're currently not actively working on it. Some more? Yeah?
Yeah, you talked about safety profile from SPDX.
Yeah.
Does that exist today, or is it still in progress?
So the question was, does the safety profile of SPDX already exist? No, it does not exist. We're currently working on it. There's a meeting each Friday evening, so European time evening, of the working group. We're currently working on, so based on these profiles that have been introduced in SPDX 3.0, we take the core profile, see what can we reuse for safety for that, and what do we need in additionally, like a requirement is a new object type that we need to create, because that's something that's not handled in the core profile. evidences like test evidences or assessment evidences is something that's coming in new, and also what are obligatory properties that must come with it and what are might be optional ones. So that's something that we're currently working on, but it's planned for SPDX 3.1. So, if there are no more questions, then it's fine. Thank you.